Alright guys, here we are. We're going to talk about sessioning. Today, we're going to session this bench. Now essentially sessioning is basically like, that's the essence of soaping. That's going to be the most social form of soaping. Guys getting together. Now this is after, like what we discussed earlier, stalls. You know, talk about some of the basics. So now you got the forms in your head. You know the names of the tricks. You know the forms of how to do them. You know front side. You know backside. Royale. Backslide. Fast slide. Okay? So now that you know that shit, now it's time to get out there and start practicing it. Okay? So you're not going to just walk up to, you know, a 20 step right here and bust out, you know, the biggest grinds. You want to start small. You want to start sessioning on curbs, ledges. What the lenches? Lenches? Things like bus benches. This is a little park bench right here. You know, nice ledge. Shorter handrails. Steps of stairs. You can wax those up. You can grind those. You know, little tiny. There's a lot of all kinds of little obstacles that you can practice on. And now there is a next step beyond sessioning, and we're going to get to that. But right now, we're going to session this bench. And I'm going to kind of show you how that goes. Basically, what's happening, I can either be by myself, I can go out session in the middle of the night like I am right now. Right now, I'm going to practice an acid boardwalk on this bench. Okay? And I'm going to practice that acid boardwalk until I get it down, or as good as I can do today. You know, and or I could session with friends. Maybe I can call up a buddy and say, hey, let's go soaping, let's go session that 10-step down by the bus stop right there. So sessioning is basically where you're choosing one object or one obstacle. It doesn't have to be a grind. I could session an 8-step gap. I could session a 4-gap 4. I could session a cone. Okay, I could go to like an orange cone, and I could basically practice doing a mute over the cone. Like this little handicap thing right here, I could session this. Maybe I want to work on a backslide, cess slide. You know what I'm saying? Wax up the top and just go over the top into the grass, and just practice that technique. I could just session this handicap thing that looks like a fucking dick, you know, for hours on end. You know, until I get it down where I'm really proficient, where I can move on to the next level, what I was talking about before, which is actually called line soaping. Okay? But before we get to that, we're going to do a little session on this curb, and this is how it's going to go. Okay? Basically, you're going to choose, you know, arbitrarily the way that your side is, like I talked before, natural versus goofy footed. Okay? Now, I'm natural, but since this is a topside trick, what I'm doing is called an acid boardwalk. Basically, I'm going to be in acid position on this foot, okay? And the back foot is going to be sliding on my toe. It's like that. You know what I'm saying? When I come from this side doing an acid boardwalk, it's almost like doing a backside unity. Except again, I'm on the toe. So I'm going to just do that. And I'm going to keep doing that acid boardwalk for, I don't know, half an hour, maybe an hour. I'm just going to do the same trick over and over. That doesn't mean when you're sessioning you have to do the same trick. You know, you might want to be working on 3 different tricks, or maybe, you know, all week, you know, you've been sessioning doing royales, and you're starting to get that balance. You really want to just try to get that foot up and start hitting that backslide, okay? So you might want to session doing royale. You get comfortable, you're like, hey, I'm hitting this royale every time. It's time to step it up a notch, you know what I'm saying? It's time to go big, and you're going to start with like a freestyle backslide, you know what I'm saying, where it's a backslide, but you're not grabbing. Get used to that, and then start hitting that grab, and then switch it up from there. All of a sudden, you know, you can go to inside grab backslide, you can go to rocket backslide, you can go to stale backslide. Okay. Anyway, let's bust out a little acid sidewalk, and then we're gonna move on. That's that freestyle backslide for you. Okay. You know what? I didn't like that so well. I kind of want to, I'd like to do it with maybe my hands like this. I want to widen up the stance. So as I'm sessioning, I'm just going to do it again. I walk right back to the same spot. So I'm saying I'm going to do that over and over until I'm just nailing it every time. So that's it. Get your session on, guys. We'll see you in the next one.